Looks like we're live. How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Properties and Beers. And I know it's Saturday, so if you're joining me, welcome this Saturday for a very special Properties and Beers. And if you're watching me, drop me a line, drop me a comment. Let's say hi. And welcome, welcome, welcome. So, hey, everyone, it's Gaurav Gupta here, CEO and founder of Ethical Property Investments. We help everyday Aussies invest in high cash flow ethical properties that both do good and make money. Now, I don't usually lead with politics, but this week we're not hitting the 1.2 million homes target that was set by the Labor government recently, and the taxes might have to go up. That's not clickbait. That's Treasury's own leaked advice, accidentally published and then quickly deleted. But we saw it, right? The media was all over that kind of thing. And here's the thing: when the government can't deliver, it's sometimes up to us to step in. And it's looking more and more that that's going to be the way. It's up to investors like you and I to actually step in and create the housing that's so fundamental needed. People like our ethical investors. And look, there's been leaked reports before, housing shortfall and whispers of tax hikes. All the systems under pressure. So here's the real question: if you're not building for impact, where do you fit into this mess? So before we get started, let's pour something cold and unpack what this is really all about. So what have we got today? Today we have a Stella Artois, right? I'm sitting at a slightly warmer location than my usual Melbourne location. So if you're watching, welcome. Cheers, guys. Stella poured from the tap. Sometimes you can't really beat a good tap beer. Look, I've been less and less on the beers recently for properties and beers. I've had some people say you need to change it to like land and liquor. Thanks for that, Numit. But no, I like properties and beers, even though we don't always have beers. But it's a good drop. Let's be honest. So let's chat what it is. So the system's under pressure. What now? So here's what came out in the Treasury document, the one that was accidentally released, right? We're not going to hit the 1.2 million homes target over the next 5 years. The budget won't balance without some form of new taxes. And housing supply is already way behind schedule. In 23-24, we were short by over 108,000 homes. And just from immigration alone, and it's unlikely to catch up, right? Now, that's not just news, it's direction because that leads into a tighter housing market. So, those that believe, hey, property's going to drop, well, in areas where population wants to move to, such as Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, typically the eastern coast, we have an influx of people who want to buy housing and not enough housing available for them. Forget uh, you know, people are like, Gora, why should I build houses? Well, here's the thing, right? We don't have enough houses in the system. So the people that build houses, the people that develop houses, the people that even are building, house on land that are infill blocks, they are in high, high demand. And here's the thing: because every time the government misses the target, the markets adjust. And it's investors like us who see the early signs and actually get the edge. Just like Melbourne, we've seen the edge in Melbourne. I've been talking now 6 months saying, hey, Melbourne's underpriced, Melbourne's underpriced. And guess what? Melbourne's catching up. The same land we were able to purchase a month ago is not available in the market at the same price now. So here's the thing, though, right? This isn't about panic, it's about pattern recognition. So I'm going to say this clearly: if the government can't close the gap, maybe the private sector needs to start building smarter with impact at the center. Now, you've heard me say this before: when the government misses targets, values led investors can step in. And the ones that do it right, well, they build legacy, not just equity. And, you know, we have a social housing crisis right now in Australia. I believe with the right setup, investors like you and I can actually fix this, and the government should step in. I'm on my high horse here. The NRES program was a fantastic program for the people that got it right. For the people that got it wrong, it was horrible, right? For the people that got oversold it, and I guess the spruikers came in, just like they did with the NDIS market, right? The spruikers came in, etc., etc. But the people who saw through it and did the right thing, went with the right providers from an NRAS perspective, it really afford rental affordability. And it's such a shame that, those people who were able to afford in those nice suburbs that with the NRAS funding are no longer able to afford it anymore. And I believe it stimulated a, a private construction boom for houses that were desperately, desperately needed. So if someone in the government's watching it, hey, bring back the NRAS. It might just change the tide, the way the tide's turning, right? Um, and just my thoughts there, right? So segment two, like let's chat about mortgages, right? We used to have a strategy called Mortgage Terminator. In fact, we still run it. And it's a strategy that's still changing lives. So let's shift gears for a second. We've talked about what's broken, but what about what's working? Well, here's the thing, right? Our Mortgage Terminator strategy has helped hundreds of thousands of Aussies wipe out their mortgage in 10 years or less, saving hundreds of thousands of dollars of interest, right? These aren't millionaires. They're everyday people like you and I who've said enough is enough. You know, here's the thing. I'm considering bringing this back. We haven't run a mortgage terminator webinar in almost 2 years, but with interest rates still holding and no sign of major drops, I think it's time. So, you know what? If you're keen to attend a mortgage terminator webinar, we can learn how to pay down the interest rapidly, saving hundreds of thousands of dollars of the interest. Drop me a comment below, right? Or even send us a message because, look, I'm tired of watching the average Aussie get hammered by rising interest rates and still to be told, just hold tight, just hold tight, just hold tight. And you know what? I thought about it after the rates didn't get reduced when they should have rightly gotten reduced. You can't wait your way out of bad debt. You need a plan, right? And that's what the mortgage terminator strategy is about. So if you want to know more, drop me a line. If you're keen to attend the webinar, if you say, hey, Gora, I really want to pay down how to pay down my mortgage, like absolutely, it's a pitch free situation. It's just content on how to pay down your debt rapidly. If you're keen on that, just the same one I share to my inner circle clients, drop me a line, say, Goro, I'd love to attend that event. So I just know that you're keen, right? So here's the thing. Last week we ran a really cool webinar. Actually, was it last week? It was this week. You're right. It's just over the last few days, right? So here's the thing, the timing couldn't be better. We ran co-living on trial and we had a lot of fun doing it. Literally, as that treasury news was breaking, we were hosting a webinar live, the property courtroom, co-living on trial. It was honest, it was raw, and it really cut through the hype, right? We didn't just talk up co-living. We pulled it apart, where it's working, where it's failing, what's real, and what's just bullshit marketing out there, right? We had first-time investors, we had seasoned pros, and even a few skeptics in the room, because they're always fun to have around. It's important to be skeptical to get the right information. And by the end, most of them walked away saying, I didn't know co-living could actually be done that well. In fact, I got feedback from someone, and I want to load up my phone. There was a message that came through very late last night. Thanks to the feedback, Vishal, one of our clients actually said, and I will load this up. Hi, Vishal. Thanks for sharing the link to the recorded webinar. We did record it. So if you want a copy, drop me a line saying, hey, I want a copy of the recorded webinar. It was great to hear from Goro. Honesty could be seen through very much. We'll see the other side during our next session. However, I want to speak to Goro about one of the things that only mortgage brokers can answer. By the way, I am a qualified mortgage broker. So, guys, it's really important. It was great to hear the honesty that could be seen through very much, right? Um, and here's the thing, right? Impact investing isn't fluffy, it's strategic, it's measurable. And when it works, it delivers both returns and real outcomes. We've had clients move away from traditional rental income earning, that was earning, four, 500, even $600 a week, to earning 1,200 to like $3,000 a week without buying multiple properties. Just that one property can get that kind of rental income. In fact, we even shared a really cool strategy where a property that's bought under $1 million, close to that 900K mark, can earn up to $145,000 in rental income. Now, there's pros and cons to it. You've got to be careful of a few things, but I shared that on the co-living. So if you want to drop me a line, say hi. Look, here's the thing, right? That's not a fluke. That's a shift in strategy. And look, if you missed that session and you want to see the replay, just shoot me a message, drop me a comment here. We're more than happy to absolutely share that for you. Now, before we get started, this beer is looking a bit full, so let's work on it. It's actually pretty good, right? Okay. So here's the thing. When the system's broken, we choose to build something better. And the truth that no one likes saying out loud is that we keep waiting for governments to fix a system they help break, while a housing crisis makes headlines. And there are ethical investors already out there who want to solve the problem. one property, one strategy, one tenant at a time. Look, co-living isn't the only answer. NDI specialist disability accommodation isn't the only answer, but they are some of the few strategies right now creating both a rental income and a real impact. Now, the only caveat I put to it is that a lot of people in this space who've recently got into this space are like, oh, let me just sell it for a buck without realizing what they're selling. So make sure when you're in this space, you're there with someone who's full service. You're there with someone who understands a full outcome from not just from a sales point of view, but all the way through to a tenancy. Someone who's got experience, someone who's been there and done that. That, my friends, is the way to check out whether you should invest. Look for not just a coach, but look for a mentor in the system somewhere, right? And that's why I like to get in touch with all of my clients personally. I really prefer the bespoke personal touch, and I think that's something that you should look for. So, if you've ever wondered if you can be a values-led investor and still earn strong, sustainable returns, and if the answer is yes, it's got to be start by asking better questions. Who's really solving the housing gap? Who's building for humans, not headlines? And who's showing up when the system can't? Right now, at the end of the day, this isn't about hype. It's about giving you the tools to make better quality decisions. Whether you're on your first property or your 10th, right? Learn something, share something, take one step closer to the life you actually want to build. And if you're serious about building a portfolio that works for you, your finances, and your values, this could be where it starts. And so, hit follow the page, Ethical Property Investments on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, wherever you're seeing this right now, and stay close because we're not here to sell you fear. We're here to show you what's possible and what's especially possible when you lead with values and purpose. And remember, invest smart, stay grounded, do good, make money, and repeat, guys. So, congratulations. Have a fantastic day. Cheers, guys. Enjoy your Saturday.